I just wanted to talk to you guys for a couple of moments about fear. Fear is probably one of the most debilitating things that you will ever encounter. And it can make you completely irrational in about 30 seconds. I mean, fear will cause you to do things that nothing else will. Fear. I mean, it's actually the complete opposite of faith. Both of them open spiritual doors. And it's something that people get involved in fear, and suddenly they're afraid of everything. You know, I've been thinking of this coronavirus that's been hitting around so many places. And I'm just going to tell you something. The people are completely irrational about this coronavirus. I understand that there's a lot of people that have suffered. A lot of people have lost their lives. There's just so much attention on this that we forget each year all of the people that have died from flu or from different other sicknesses. And it's almost as though the coronavirus has completely cured the flu. You don't hear anything about that. Everything is coronavirus. And as a result, they put so much emphasis on it that it's made you terrified, literally, to even go outside. I know people who are reasonable people, but they have become so paralyzed by fear. And I'm talking about Christian people who love God, who know the Word of God, who, all I can say, used to believe in healing. They used to believe in protection. They used to be in a place to where they actually believed God for things that have been literally cornered at a place to where they're almost afraid to go out of their house. They're afraid of everything. I mean, I could pick up a stick and say, oh, this stick has coronavirus on it, and chase them literally across the yard with it. And again, I am certainly not downplaying how devastating that this virus has been in a lot of people's lives. But it has made people irrational. As everything else, it's important that you be sensible with your health. Don't do things that are stupid. Don't go around someplace that you shouldn't go. I mean, just use your head with this stuff. But literally, it's been so played up, and you know that it's been played up a whole lot by the political news that we've gotten, to where every little thing has been blown up to where we think it's everything. If this is something that social media has done for us that I think has been very bad, the fact is somebody can be run over by a car in New York, and it's played up so much in the news that we're afraid clear across the country to even go outside. I mean, we listen to people's reports and it will magnify the problem. Now, if you don't believe that that's true, you need to read the story concerning the children of Israel that were going to go into the promised land. They sent 12 spies in, and this was acting on the word of God. God said to them, you're going to go in and possess the land. I'm going to give you this land. It's by covenant, etc., etc. You know the story. 10 came back. They sent 12, one from each tribe. 10 came back with a bad report. 2 came back with a good report. The 10 said, now they brought literally grapes that they had to put on poles and hold between them. I mean, it's incredible. The beauty of the land, the land was lush. It was exactly all that God said. But 10 came back and said, we saw giants. And they even made this statement. They said, we were in our sight as well as their sights as grasshoppers. Now, shows you how irrational that is. How many of them do you think went up to a giant and said, do I look like a grasshopper to you? Not one, I promise you. But in their minds, they saw themselves as grasshoppers, and they saw themselves as grasshoppers in the face of the enemy that God said that they would have dominion over. 2 came back with a good report. Joshua and Caleb, we are more than able right now. Let's not even stop for dinner. Let's just load up and head that way. We can possess this land. But because of the noise of the 10, they literally took a couple of million people and turned them to a point of despair, to where they said, we were better off as slaves in Egypt. And they even said, Egypt is the land of promise. I mean, the fear and the bad news had such a negative effect on them that they literally even took up stones to kill their leadership, kill Moses, kill Joshua. They were ready to do that. The bad news had such a negative effect on them that literally they lost their minds and they lost their inheritance. An entire generation fell by the wayside, not able to go in because of fear. They saw something that scared them so bad that even though God said it, they believed the bad report. Well, that's exactly how it happens. And we listen all the time to people, well, so-and-so, they had coronavirus. I understand that. And that's a terrible thing. And I think we need to do everything we can to protect them and preserve them and not be silly with them. But I'm just going to tell you right now, more people have had this than you can imagine. Extremely contagious, but it isn't killing everybody. It's not. But if you listen to them, they will tell you, because through fear, you can control people in ways that no one else can. Now, that's just the bottom line, and that's exactly what has happened. Fear does that, and you have to make the decision that you're not going to let fear make your decisions. You cannot afford to let fear dominate your life, because it'll cause you literally to let go of everything that has value, and it'll back you right into the corner to where you literally are free. When somebody pulls up, you will open the blinds of your house and peek out, hoping that if you've got something, don't even stop, just throw it on my porch. I'm thinking, really? I mean, you have come to the place that you are that terrified. Number one, I want to ask this question. What happened to God? Have we come to the place that we are so willing to believe the evil report that we completely lay aside the promise of God, like they did with the children of Israel? Because that's what happened. I'm just telling you, that is what took place. They completely abandoned what God said and embraced a fearful message from a bunch of people that they couldn't see a way. And as a result, it affected them for the rest of their lives. That's what fear does. Fear will paralyze you. Fear makes you irrational. You'll be afraid of things. You'll be afraid of people. You'll be afraid to go around. You'll be afraid of everything. Well, don't you get near people. Well, I understand that. I believe the thing in social distance. I believe in, I'm struggling with the thing about mask. I'm thinking, if a level 4 biolab couldn't hold this thing in, that little 3-cent mask that you're putting across your face isn't going to help you very much either. Just my opinion, but I believe that to be true. But people just absolutely through fear have cut off friendships, relationships. They've ended routines that were so healthy for them and their family, isolated themselves. I don't know, maybe that was in their heart anyway to isolate themselves, but I'm just telling you. And there's nothing wrong with isolating yourself, provided that it's not out of fear. You isolate yourself because you think that's a wise decision for that time and for that moment. But don't run and hide in the corner because of fear. If you are a Christian, if you're a believer, somewhere God has to come into play in your life to where you actually trust in the Lord. The Bible said in Proverbs, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Well, we got a real problem with that going on, don't we? I mean, people leaning to their own understanding, and they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue concerning the virus, what it is, what it does. I mean, it is incredible how many people have been paralyzed because of fear, and they truly have become irrational. I was listening to a story. Let me just read you this just a little bit. This was the headlines was let me see, the Pillsbury Doughboy, cute, cuddly, and wanted for attempted murder. Well, not really. Now, what that was, here's what they said. Let me just kind of read this to you. It says, a woman in Arkansas sitting in her car in a parking lot, and when she heard a loud bang and felt a sharp pain in the back of her head, and she was holding her hands behind her head, and when someone asked her, walked by, asked her, are you okay? The woman said, I've been shot in the head, and I'm holding my brains in. And it wasn't her brains. They said it was dough. The Pillsbury biscuit canister had exploded in the back seat, and apparently from the heat, making a loud explosion and shooting the dough into the back of the woman's head. Oh my goodness! But see, sometimes fear, like this lady's fear, it is unfounded and it's irrational. And that's where so many people are just, they're controlled by fear, and it's ruining their life. Can I give you one more story real quickly? Here's another story, and this one's, the other one was a little ridiculous and a little humorous, but this one's very sad. It said there was a lady who died in 1960. Her name was Hetty Green. She was called America's Greatest Miser. When she died in 1916, she left an estate valued at $100 million. But she was so miserly that she ate cold oatmeal in order to save the expense of heating the water. And her son had a severe leg injury, and she took so long trying to find a free clinic to treat him that his leg had to be amputated because of the advanced infection. Wow. You know, I'm sure she was really worried about losing her wealth, but instead she couldn't enjoy life. And really, isn't that the case? I mean, you can become so afraid of losing your wealth, your job, that you stop enjoying life. And that's what fear does. Fear makes things completely irrational. When fear comes in, it makes something bigger than it is. And you can't afford to let that be a part of your life. I'm just telling you right now, you've got to make the decision that fear is not going to control your decisions. It's not going to control what you do with your health, with your family. I'm not going to allow that. Is there a possibility something could go wrong? Well, of course there's a possibility. Dear God in heaven, that's life. You know, there is a possibility that if you got in your car and left your home, that you could be in a car accident. There is a possibility. But we're not going to stop getting in our car and going on with life because something might happen. You know what? We deal with life as it comes to us. Do we like all of it? Of course not. But listen, this is who we are. This is where we're going, and we're not going to stop living because we're afraid of something that can happen. Now, you know people that are like that. Probably every one of you knows someone who was injured in some way, some accident or whatever, and it terrified them to the point that it almost immobilized them from doing anything, from enjoying life, from enjoying they couldn't go outside. It's almost like they're a prisoner in their home by something that's invisible, something that it's just fear. Now, so I want to say, be careful when you're driving. Be aware. I tell my daughters when they leave, I said, watch out for the crazies. Be safe. Wear your seatbelt and watch out for because it's true. There's a lot of people that are driving out there and they're texting and they're doing things. You got to watch out for that. But that's just using your head. But you can't be afraid and quit simply because something happened. Now listen to me. Maybe some of you have taken a hit. Maybe some of you have gone through something that made you afraid. I want to encourage you to pick yourself up and don't let that thing define you anymore. Don't let fear be the thing that makes your decisions. I mean that. Can I give you a scripture? This is one of my favorite ones from Psalms chapter 27. It said, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Do we believe that? Come on, I know a lot of you. I know you're believers. I know you've got a Bible. You've got 27 translations on your phone. I know you know all of those things. But have you abandoned the fact of who the Lord is because you're afraid of the dark? He said, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And he said, the Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Man, that's such a good question. He said, when evil men advance against me to devour my flesh, when my enemies rise up to attack me, he said, they stumbled and they fell. And said, though they should besiege me, it said, my heart will not fear. Now, why in the world would I say my heart wouldn't fear? Because you got to go back to verse 1 that said, because the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Come on now. I'm telling you right now, you're going to face life with courage. You're going to face life with strength. You're going to face life with optimism. When the time comes that we leave this life and we go into the next life, we're going to face death with courage. We're going to face death with strength, and we're going to face it with optimism. But I'm just telling you right now, we're not going to stop and go hide in the corner because someone said the virus is out there. Is the virus out there? Absolutely. And we're going to do everything we can to protect ourselves and our family. We're going to be wise. I would suggest that you try taking some vitamins and take care of yourself. Get some sunshine. Vitamin D is amazing for this. Don't let the politics that are around us that have lied to us on so many levels, it breaks my heart. Talk to you about things for the purpose of manipulating you, because that's what's been behind it. You put your trust in the Lord because he's not going to drop the ball on you. Does that make any sense to you? I say this today because I want you to be encouraged that God is on your side. I don't care what you're facing. I don't care how big the giants seem to be in the land that you're going to possess. You know, it's like those guys said, I know what God said, but did you see the size of the giants? I know there's grapes, but did you see the size of the giants? And of course, Joshua and Caleb, they said, I know that there's giants, but did you see the size of the grapes? Everything depends on the perspective of how you see it. I'll tell you the truth. I don't like hanging out with people who can't see a way out. I don't hang around with complainers. I'd suggest that you consider that also. You need to not hang out with complainers. You need to hang out with people that actually believe we're going to come through this thing with strength. God is on our side. God is on our side. I mean that. Well, that's what I wanted to just speak a word. Just wanted to encourage you. I just wanted to strengthen you for a few moments. Tell you don't be afraid. Come on, get yourself back out there among the living. Stop acting like, well, get yourself in line. Good things are supposed to happen. Don't be afraid of your job. Take care of things. Be diligent. Get yourself back in church. Call some people. Visit with your friends. Allow yourself to live. Don't let people back you into a corner, because I'm just telling you something. They'll do it because they're afraid. And misery loves company is what I found. All right? Well, I love you guys. Thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate that. I always look forward to this time with you. I'm back here every night at 7 o'clock. I'd like you to join me. Please push like, because that might hurt my feelings if you don't like me. Push like, push share, and those of you on my YouTube channel, please push subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Love you guys. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for being my friend. I value that more than I could ever say. All right, I'm out of here. I'll see you tomorrow. I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful evening. It's a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.